There may be many ways to go about crashing this game, but discovering a unique method of doing so is still an impressive achievement. Before we get into this, has anyone else realized how broken Chapter 5 and 7 are compared to the rest? Those areas also happen to be the setting for a few cinematics that, when properly exploited, crash the game. Our first glitch takes us to the beach of Lavalava Island at the beginning of the chapter. While on expeditions, Colorado is always getting himself into trouble and cries out for help while he's being attacked by a jungle fuzzy. You can either defeat the enemy or push forward until Colorado manages to escape by himself. Should you leave him behind, he complains to Malleo for not being a very good friend. When performing loading zone storage into these coordinate-based cutscenes, the transition into the next room is prioritized. By clearing the first text boxes, we are free to continue the frame-perfect jumps all the way across the beach, eventually reaching the point where Colorado flees from the fuzzy. Again, loading takes priority, but re-entering the area proves something else happened. When that second cutscene activates, the enemy is temporarily teleported out of bounds and is removed entirely after the room updates. However, as a result of loading zone storage, the cutscene itself was never cleared. As we can see, Colorado sits here pretending to be attacked. Moving on will reactivate the sequence responsible for warping the jungle fuzzy off screen, but since the room was already updated, he's not there. This attempt in moving a non-existent object results in a game crash. The same idea applies moments later in Jade Jungle, where a spear guy threatens Colorado's safety. Once more, complete the first scene and store the loading zone. Thankfully, we don't have to do as many frame-perfect jumps this time, since the X-coordinate to trigger the second cinematic does not need to be as high. Backtrack into the room, and like last time, the enemy no longer exists, though Colorado believes otherwise. Yet another game crash occurs if you go too far to the right. Interestingly, this bypasses the crash handler when done on the English Nintendo 64, and I'm not sure why. On a much different note, our next crash takes place at Shiver Mountain, where we shell toss a distant switch. But before we can use the new path, an imposter attempts to trick us while disguised as Cooper. Following their dialogue, Mario is to hammer the fake one, prompting a battle. A few rooms before this whole thing occurs, there is a dock in Shiver City with an extremely broken glitch. Hopping on sushi from a pixel-perfect position gives us the ability to treat all land as if it were water. Take this glitch to the area with the Cooper cinematic and cross the gap. Now we need to stop swimming on land, and the easiest way to do so is by encountering the nearby Clubba. In battle, swap the active partner to Watt, and this makes it possible to strike the switch while holding her. Watt turns invisible during the cutscene aside from her little jolts, and both Coopers begin arguing. When hammering either Cooper, the game will crash. The thing is, I'm actually simulating this crash with the power of video editing, since the Virtual Console version has no issues. This appears to be as a result of Cooper being the assumed active partner, but as we know, it was Watt in this case. Just before you thought Paper Mario couldn't have any more crashes, meet the Starstone cutscene. During this whole exchange, Mario falls asleep because it is a bit lengthy, but Madame Merlar grants us this special item. As part of the cinematic, the stone floats out of the icy pedestal so we can retrieve it afterwards. Fortunately for us, that's also the reason this cutscene is broken. Paper Mario uses a trigger-based story progression system, where events such as collecting a mandatory item or entering a certain region for the first time appropriately updates our save file. This was only ever intended to advance our progress, but thanks to glitches, skipping content allows us to reactivate unused triggers and basically go back in time. If we already possess the Starstone, then set our game state back to a previous location, we can replay up to this point and watch the Madame Merlar cutscene twice. Now the Starstone is not in the pedestal, which is a major problem. Remember, the item moves, and it's no secret at this point that moving missing objects ends up crashing. Hope you guys enjoyed this entry in the Everything Crashes Paper Mario series. There will be more, so be sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content. As always, thank you guys for watching.